Hello everybody, Russell Longcore here again. Welcome to Flash Editorials for November 16th, 2012. I'm the owner and the editor of Dump DC. Flash Editorials is presented by www.dumpdc.com. Dump DC is a world leader in secessionist thought. We show the world that secession is the only hope for personal liberty and property rights on this planet. Now, some of the stuff I've seen this week, you can't make this up. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that. That's actually not true. Fiction writers fill novels with this kind of crazy crap all the time. You just don't usually see stupid human tricks play out in real life. As the Chinese saying goes, may you live in interesting times. Let's go to the news. In the Nation, Part 1. This week, some resourceful folks planted a bunch of secession petitions over at whitehouse.gov at the website, and people from all over the nation began electronically signing them. As of today, there are petitions filed for all 50 states, and there have been over 700,000 petitions signed digitally. I wrote an article this week in which I stated that the petitions are entirely incorrect, and that this is not the way that a state secedes, by begging the current administration for permission to leave the union. Please, it's kind of like an employer asking the employee if it's okay if the employer fires the employee. It's just ridiculous. But I digress. A few people left me comments here at www.dumpdc about the fact that I was not wildly in favor of the petitions. So, okay, here's my latest comment. Get this, because this is probably all I'm going to say about it. Well, that's probably not true. I tend to talk a lot. In the public relations game, even if they're talking ugly about you, they're still talking about you. I'm glad that the petitions raised awareness about secession here in America. I'm glad to see that Sean Hannity interviewed Texas Nationalist Movement President Daniel Miller on the Hannity Show on Tuesday night. It was a great interview. Daniel did a tremendous job. The more that America hears the word secession, the more comfortable they will be with it. And because America heard about it on TV, somehow that magically lends credibility to the story and the concept. Secession is a long way from reality. No governor, no state house in America was going to take up this topic in a serious manner until after the economic collapse happens. Then they'll deal with it out of self-preservation. In the Nation, Part 2, the CIA/Benghazi/Petraeus story got legs. Lots of legs. Girls all over the place. 2 generals are now in trouble, Petraeus and some other guy, along with 2 Florida military brass groupies. Who knew that generals had groupies? I didn't. This one groupie, Paula Broadwell, Petraeus' principal squeeze, has been found to have classified data on her computer, although the source of the data has not been yet revealed. Most of us only know about the CIA from what they tell us about themselves, or what we see in fictional TV shows or movies like the Bourne trilogy. So America, in its ignorance, thinks that our intelligence community is the best in the world, but that's just public relations. Our spies seem to be bumbling idiots that can't run an operation, that's short for operation. They can't run an op right, even if it means their own skin. And when the guys at the top are the biggest security risks of all, you know that shite rolls downhill into the organization. Now, I don't want to demean all the operators in the CIA. There are career guys and gals that care deeply about doing their jobs right. But don't you forget this. Afghanistan's poppy crop had all but been obliterated by the Taliban before we got there. Now, the Afghanis supply 90% plus of the world's heroin market. Now, who's running that op? The CIA. Why? One reason. It's off-budget cash that runs all kinds of CIA shenanigans and pays for them. All the guys at the top are always political appointees who couldn't spell intelligence before they got their cushy jobs. Let me give you a case in point. Leon Panetta. Are you kidding? This guy never even sat on a House Intelligence Committee when he was a congressman. He was congressman for multiple terms. Then all of a sudden he's qualified to be the head of the CIA? Based on what? And now the guy is Secretary of Defense? Based on what? The fact that he was a second Louis in the Army in 1964? Please. The CIA is broken and it won't be fixed by D.C. because it allows D.C. to do an awful lot of things they don't have to account for. It'll be interesting to see what trained monkey that Obama appoints or nominates as the next CIA director. In international news, oil giant BP, or otherwise known British Petroleum, has agreed to pay the largest criminal penalty in the history of the world because of its responsibility for the Deepwater Horizon disaster in the Gulf of Mexico in 2010. BP is going to plead guilty to obstruction of justice for lying to Congress about how much oil was spewing into the Gulf waters. The amount of the fine is reported to be $4.5 billion. Tall. Up to now, the largest corporate criminal penalty ever paid was paid by drug maker Pfizer in the amount of $1.2 billion. But don't worry about BP, though, folks. They made a net profit of $5.5 billion in the third quarter of this year. In business. Now, I am a founder of a private, secret, members-only Twitter group. We are limiting our members to just 20, and 5 are already in. If you have a Twitter following larger than 10,000, my group will give you exposure to over 200,000 tweets a day for free. Now, if you want this kind of exposure for your tweets, contact me on Twitter. Use that little A with the circle around it, the @ sign. So use @Russ_Longcore, R-U-S-S Longcore, L-O-N-G-C-O-R-E. @Russ Longcore, @RUSSLONGCORE, or just look in the text below because it's in the text of this video. Follow me and then leave me a direct message. We require members to sign a non-disclosure agreement, so just know that going up front. But we can put your tweets in front of 200,000 lookers every day. Interested? Let's go to business part 2. A couple weeks back, I learned about a new business concept called social commerce. Now, we all know what social networking is and how big it's become. The use of websites like Twitter or Facebook or Google Plus or LinkedIn or Pinterest or a whole bunch of others, all of that's exploded in just a few short years. Remember, Facebook only launched in 2004. So in 8 years, it's become the giant it is now, with over 1 billion worldwide members. Social commerce is simply gaining access to the vast number of eyes looking at social networks for business purposes. Now, the traditional method of gaining access is what? Well, it's advertising. But advertising on social networks is not working out as well as expected. Facebook thought they were going to make a killing selling ads to businesses who wanted access to all those eyes. But Facebook's stock price has gone from its IPO high of 38 down to today's price at around 22. Turns out that social networkers don't like ads any more than they do on TV. Now, ask yourself this. How many of you record TV shows, even sports events, to view later? And how many of you fast forward through all the commercials? Well, that's what I thought. See, all of you do that. So how can a business take advantage of social networking? Simple. Referrals. Networking. Word-of-mouth advertising, the most powerful and effective form of advertising in existence. And word-of-mouth advertising costs nothing. Think about this. You went to a movie recently that you liked and you told your friends and relatives and the people around the water cooler about your experience. You liked the movie, you told them. You had a great meal at a restaurant and you told your friends and family. That, my friends, is word-of-mouth advertising, and it costs nothing. But let me ask you this. Did the theater or the restaurant pay you any kind of a commission when your friends spent money there? Well, of course they didn't. Wouldn't you like to have them do that? Yes, of course we all would. So how can you harness the power of word-of-mouth advertising for your business? And an even better question would be to ask yourself, how can I start a business using social networking and turn it into social commerce? A third question would be this, if you have a business already. How can I add another very profitable, very stable source of income in social commerce to my present business mix? Interesting question. Well, that leads me to tonight's commercial message. Would you like to learn how you can make all your social networking pay you? Or if you don't have any social networking, how you can learn how to make social networking pay you. Let me introduce you to a new company named Solavei, Solavei. Solavei just launched nationwide on September 21st, 2012, and they've put in nearly, just in that period of time, which is what, less than 8 weeks, they've put in like 70,000 new customers in that short a period of time. They created a company that will allow you to refer your friends and relatives and make money doing it. You don't have to sell anything, simply post messages and links and let your family and acquaintances and friends look for themselves. If they like what they see and they make a purchase, you get paid. Solavei's first value proposition is this. Now get this, this is amazing. Unlimited talk, text, and data on a 4G nationwide network, $49 a month. No contract, no credit checks, no deposits. You can bring your phone with you and your phone number for free. And enrolling takes about 5 or 6 minutes online. Look, I was with AT&T with my iPhone. I saved over half. I'm now paying $49 a month. I saved half, which is like $552 a year. And now I got unlimited everything, whereas before I didn't have unlimited everything. Folks, this is a terrific deal. Don't miss this. But think about this. Think about this mostly from a business standpoint. Cell phones are a life essential service that nearly every person from age 10 and up already have. Try to think of all the people that you know. Can you think of 5 people that you know and all the people that you know that don't have a cell phone? I've made my point. Mobile users will not voluntarily give up their phone service because what would they do? There's a whole generation out there that's never had anything but a cell phone. So what would they do? Go back and get a landline? That requires credit checks and deposits, and you can only make telephone calls when you're at home. So phone bills, like utility bills, will get paid every month, even if other expenses get cut or get eliminated. That makes the business recession-proof. Do you sell something right now that's recession-proof? If you don't, wouldn't you want to? The answer is yes. Solavei's business model is this. Refer people you know to Solavei. When those people sign up, just like you did, you'll receive monthly commissions as long as those new members remain Solavei customers. Solavei even has a plan whereby members can have their mobile phone service for free just by referring members. You refer 9 members that buy the service and your phone service is free from then on. Isn't that amazing? Now, how many people getting free phone service are going to switch to another carrier? Answer, none. Because no other phone service can beat free, can it? So to learn more, go to Dump DC right below us, down here, scroll down. You'll see this flash editorial article. Scroll down to the Solavei video, which is just below it. Look at that video. It's only 6 minutes long, and then sign up today. In the economy, the number of actual initial unemployment claims filed under state programs, unadjusted, uncooked by the government, totaled 466,348 in the week ending November 10th. Now, this is a whopping increase of 104,548 over the previous week, and it's attributable to Hurricane Sandy hitting the Northeast. Yet, when I heard a news story on this morning at Fox Business, and it was at 8:40 a.m., which is only 10 minutes after the Labor Department releases the figures at 8:30. Fox reported that only reported the cook numbers of the quote 4-week moving average of 383,000, and they said that was a positive trend for the economy. Now, you may get tired of seeing me talk about this or hear me talking about this, but every week the Labor Department lies to America about how bad things are. Remember, folks, This week's figures increased by 100,000 in a single week. That is 100,000 people more than the usual 380,000 claims a week. This is horrible, folks. If any economic stories concern you, this slow-moving train wreck should. When is your job going to be threatened? Do you have a plan B in place just in case you lose your job? All those, there's 400,000, 400 and what? 466,000 people that last week don't have a job that had one the week before. Did they know that it was coming? Maybe, maybe not. But will you know that your job loss is coming when it happens? Maybe, maybe not. You better have a plan B. You might want to take a look at that Soloway video. In sports, the Atlanta Falcons lost to the New Orleans Saints last Sunday, so their record is now 7-1, which is still pretty great. But just 3 or 4 years ago, the Falcons led the NFL in rushing yards gained, and they couldn't move the ball at all against the Saints on Sunday. This year, they don't seem to be able to move the ball on the ground really against anybody. You can't win games without a ground game. Time will tell. And other than that, there's not a heck of a lot to report in sports, so let me say this in Sports Part 2. Anytime you get to watch a college football game, find an SEC game. The SEC is the #1 conference in college for supplying players to the NFL. Any SEC team can beat any other SEC team on any given Saturday. Top to bottom, the SEC is the best football in America. And finally, in entertainment, actor Channing Tatum has been named Sexiest Man Alive 2012 by People magazine. Now, the first thing I did when I learned this is look at Wikipedia about the guy. I figured, no way that Channing Tatum is this guy's real name. Got to be made up. It's like Joe Schwartz or something like that. Well, come to find out, that's my bad. It is just a very southern name. This is a kid who was born in Alabama and raised in Mississippi, and his daddy's name is Glenn Tatum. But have you seen this kid? He's mighty pretty. Hope he doesn't get all paunchy and rotund like me later in life. I was pretty cute once too. But that's something for another time. That's all for tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm Russell D. Longcore. For all of us here at Dump DC, good night and good luck. Dump DC, 6 letters that will change history. Copyright 2012, Russell Longcore. Permission to reprint in whole or in part is gladly granted, providing full credit is given. See ya.